Hello and welcome to the 19th episode of Williams Whiteboard. As I always do, I'd like to just take a quick moment just to say thank you for all of you that have stopped by, liked, shared, and commented on my videos. I really appreciate it. And the shares really mean a lot. So keep it going. Thank you so much. So on this week's episode, I'd like to talk about the concept of the virtual manifesto. Yes, the virtual manifesto. So this past week, I had an opportunity to prepare a presentation for a group talking about managing in the virtual environment, so managing a virtual workforce. So a couple of months ago, we would be thinking about this as, this is just something that's going to be a couple of months. We'll do our Zooms and our Adobes and our Microsoft Teams for a while, but we'll be back. I'm not sure we're going to be back all the way to the good old days of January 2020. In fact, I've been hearing from a lot of organizations that they aren't bringing their offices back until, late summer, fall, maybe even the new year, at the end of the year. So managing a virtual workforce is really an issue that needs to be addressed, okay, and that we need to be doing some thinking about. So in my customary fashion, I dove in and said, okay, what's really driving this change from physical space to virtual space? So what's driving the change? Okay. What's driving the change? And that change is from a physical location to a virtual location, okay? What's driving that change? I'm suggesting that while obviously proximity is critical, okay, I really think it is the trust change that has happened. When you can't reach out and touch people like next door, down the office, walking in the hallway, and you feel them close to you from a social perspective, I think the trust bonds that are between people have diminished a bit. That's why managing in a virtual workforce is challenging. Now, here's why I believe that is to be true. There is a concept called the trust equation. The trust equation that was introduced in the book called the Trusted Advisor. It talks about being a consultant and the value proposition of being a consultant. But in the trust equation, it has four components. 4 components, okay? The first is your credibility. Credibility, okay? How credible are you in the organization? The next is reliability. Reliability, okay? How reliable are you in the organization? Intimacy, okay? And this intimacy talks about keeping secrets, the concept of keeping secrets, okay? Keeping the ability to keep secrets, all over self-orientation, which means how much do you think about self over the organization? Okay, this trust equation, when you think about it, and one would surmise that for a credibility standpoint, your credibility stays the same, whether you're in the office or at home. So that's neutral. Your reliability, or at least your perceived reliability, I think goes down. Because there's a perception that you aren't there. While you can be there in video is not the same as physical. Intimacy also when we talk about intimacy, it's the ability to keep secrets, okay? So the concept, I think, of that intimacy goes down as well. Because there's a perception, even when you're in the 4 walls of the building, there's a perception that what happens in the building stays in the building. Likely not true. However, the perception is real. But when you're at home, or when you're in the telework office or a co-working facility, the level of intimacy, the ability to keep secrets, in my opinion, goes way down. And then couple those downward trends to the upward trend of self-orientation in terms of, are you thinking more about yourself than you're thinking about the organization? At work, it might be a coin flip, 50-50. At home, self wins. Okay, so from a standpoint of if reliability and intimacy go down, self-orientation goes up, and possibly your credibility stays the same, this trust equation goes down. The trust associated with that goes down. Therefore, I suggest that there is something I call the virtual manifesto that needs to be created. Okay. The manifesto, what do we believe as a virtual organization? What do we believe? There are 10 of these that I've created. Okay. However, for the sake of time, we're going to talk about 3. The first, in us, we trust. Okay? We must declare and own that the trust equation has the potential to be negatively impacted in a virtual environment. Therefore, we must own the idea and own the concept and own the leadership around. We are first going to seek to trust. And all that encompasses, we are a trusting organization. We may have a little verify on the back end, but we first seek to trust. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2, test the tech. It surprises me how many times I've been involved or been a part of online engagement, meetings, classrooms, etc., and people show up at the time of the course to then figure out that something's going on with their tech. Wi-Fi is bad, mute button isn't working, something's going on. My phone, I can't hear. I can only hear through my phone. I can't hear on the computer. We must own the fact. It should be part of our culture, okay, part of our virtual culture that we test the tech. People show up early, okay? I remember when I was in the military, we used to have this saying that early was on time. On time was late. Okay, so even if it's 5 minutes, join 5 minutes, make sure your Wi-Fi is up, make sure your mute button works, all of the things that are necessary, but test your tech. The third, honor the chit chat. Okay. We must honor that the spaces that we collectively get together in virtually must also include some light time, some levity, some off time. Okay? We don't always, when we were in offices, we weren't just from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting and serious issue to serious issue to serious issue. We talked around the water cooler. We talked in the chat room. We leaned over somebody's cube and had a conversation. How are the pets? What's going on? What's going on in the stock market? I'm just suggesting that we should honor the chit chat, that we should always save space. Even if we have to create space for it, we should save space to honor the chit chat. Our world is full of introverts and extroverts. Introverts like me, we're just fine in this new norm, new virtual environment. I can communicate when I want to communicate. But we still have a world at least half full of introverts, and some say way more, like 65% extroverts, And they need energy from engagement. And it's not always engagement about the work. So think about that as you build and think about your virtual manifesto. These are the top 3. Again, there is a 4 through 10. If you'd like to reach out to me, let's talk about it. If you want to talk about all 10, we can get together and talk about it. But this is Williams Whiteboard in the concept of the virtual manifesto. We are embracing or going through a culture change, and that culture change must be intentionally and deliberately led. Thank you so very much for your time. And remember, whenever you're working through an issue and you need some time to figure it out, grab a whiteboard and some markers and get after it. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day. Bye.